Since the NFL adopted its current 8-conference 12-team playoff format in 2002, we've never saw the same 12 teams go to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. And every offseason, fans and analysts alike speculate on which teams are sure to go back and which ones will most likely not. Because as history indicates, we can expect that there will be at least one, if not several, of the 8 division winners and 4 wildcard teams ending their seasons short the next year. And this season, the talk around the water cooler has been that the 10-6 Jaguars, who seem to have come out of nowhere, may be one of those lucky one-hit wonder teams that we see spring up almost every season. You know, the teams that may have been blessed with an easy schedule, players on other teams in the division injured at the right time, several close games that tip in their favor, and suddenly a 3-13 team is a 10-6 playoff team. Is this the case for the 2017 Jaguars? Well, in this video, I will present all of the evidence and compare the 3-13 2016 Jaguars to the 10-6 2017 Jaguars, who were 4 points away from going to the Super Bowl, and leave it up to you to decide. Are the Jaguars a one-off, one-hit wonder, or are they building the next top-tier franchise? Let's talk about it. So let's start with the coach. Coach Doug Marrone coaches his first full season as the Jaguars head coach and leads the Jags to their first winning season in 10 years. Ironically enough, this is actually his second time doing so, as he was the head coach for the 2014 9-7 Buffalo Bills, giving them their first winning season in 10 years. Marrone did run off on the team after an ownership change that season, leaving the players feeling betrayed and abandoned. In fact, running back Fred Jackson even went on to say that his departure was like being punched in the stomach. For me, this says a lot about what type of locker room Doug Marrone had in Buffalo and the respect that he had from his players. And who knows where the Bills might have been had he stayed. And also, on the same day that Marrone was named the head coach for the Jaguars for the 2017 season, it was announced that the Jaguars would be bringing back legendary 2-time Super Bowl winner Tom Coughlin, the Jaguars' first ever head coach, as executive vice president of football operations. And as we see from many other examples, dynasties are usually built in the front office. Now that we've talked about the coach, usually the next topic is who's at quarterback. But we'll skip over this one for now and save that for last. Let's talk about the thing that actually brought the Jaguars one game away from Super Bowl 52. That defense, Sacksonville. Let's look at the numbers. In 2016, the Jaguars were 8th in the league allowing third down conversions, with 37.1%. 2017, they were 4th, with 33.6%. They were 5th in passing yards allowed in 2016 and 1st in 2017. And it makes you think from those numbers that the defense didn't really make that big of a change from one season to the next. But when you break down the numbers even further, you see where the major differences were. In 2016, the team was dead last in the league in interceptions, with only 7 for the season. In 2017, they were 2nd in the league after tripling that number with 21 interceptions. And one of my favorite stats to look at, often overlooked, is pass deflections. Only because interceptions are part skill, part luck, and part being in the right place at the right time. Pass deflection is a more consistent measure, in my opinion, of how effective a secondary is. With that said, the Jaguars were 31st in the league in 2016 with 52 pass deflections, and in 2017 they jumped up to 8th in the league with 77. Jacksonville in 2016 were tied 19th in the league with 33 sacks. And in 2017, Sacksonville registered 55 sacks, which was 2nd in the league. The sacks, the interceptions, the fumbles led to the Jaguars being 2nd in the league in takeaways with 33, 20 more than they got in 2016, where their 13 takeaways were tied for 30th in the league. In fact, the Jaguars scored 7 touchdowns on defense in 2017. And when you look at the fact that the Jaguars were 5th best in the league in points scored with 417, that was almost 100 more points than they scored in 2016, and just about half of those extra points came on defense. So why was this defense so much better in 2017? Well, the Jaguars bought over Calais Campbell from Arizona, who had a career year with 14.5 sacks. and A.J. Boye from Houston, who led the team with 6 interceptions. Now, that dismal 2016 season for the Jaguars was also the season we saw the Jaguars take cornerback Jalen Ramsey 5th overall in the draft, linebacker Miles Jack in the 2nd round, and defensive lineman Yannick Ngakoue in the 3rd round. These draftees were pretty quiet in their rookie season, but made a huge impact in year 2 in 2017. So for my Dynasty voters out there, this again is how dynasties are made. Similar to Pete Carroll in Seattle. In 2011, the Seahawks drafted KJ Wright in the 4th round, Richard Sherman in the 5th round, and Byron Maxwell in the 6th. They drafted Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas the season prior, and voila, the Legion of Boom is born. So maybe Saxonville is the next legendary defense that will dominate for years to come, as the Jaguars have all of these guys, including Boye and Campbell, under contract at least until 2021. Now, to keep this fair and balanced, let's look at another side of this outside of the hard numbers. Now, usually a key factor when we see these miracle teams pop out of nowhere tends to be strength of schedule. In 2016, the Jaguars had a pretty tough schedule, as the teams they played finished with a combined record of 135 to 121. In 2017, the combined record for the teams that they played were 111 and 145, one of the easiest schedules in the league. They played only 2 teams who finished with a record of 5 wins and below in 2016, and in 2017, that number tripled with 6. That's just under half their games. Also, when we look deeper into what gave the Jags their moniker Saxonville, and also what made Calais Campbell an All-Pro for the first time in his 10 seasons, was the fact that they played against 2 of the worst offensive lines in the league twice, the Colts and the Texans. In week 1, they sacked the Texans quarterbacks 10 times. And as unheard of as that is, they actually managed to do it again when they sacked Jacoby Brissett 10 times in their week 7 matchup against the Colts. In fact, the Jaguars registered 28 sacks against the Colts and Texans alone. That was over half of their sacks for the season. Now next year, the Jaguars will have to face Andrew Luck and Deshaun Watson going into his 2nd year. And they may not have such an easy time knocking these 2 quarterbacks down. In fact, their schedule for 2018 is actually going to be much tougher than what it was in 2017. Also, looking at turnovers, the Jaguars had 2 games where they were able to register 5 takeaways. One against a horrible 0-16 Browns team, and the other against Pittsburgh, where Ben Roethlisberger magically transformed into Nathan Peterman and handed over 5 interceptions. Literally the worst game we ever saw Big Ben play in his career. Not sure what side of the bed he woke up on that morning, but a performance that bad was definitely a one-off. Now, last and not least, well, maybe least, depending on what I'm going to say next, let's look at Mr. Blake Bortles. The main reason that folks are having a hard time seeing the Jaguars as the next dynasty is because of the quarterback. Now, for me, I like Bortles. In my opinion, hey, he's a game manager. He's never had an elite receiver. Is he Tom Brady? No. But I don't think he's a liability. But for the sake of this video, my opinion doesn't matter. Let's look at the numbers. In 2017, Blake Bortles had a quarterback rating of 84.7, which was 18th in the league, middle of the road. He had a pass completion percentage of 60.2, which was 23rd in the league. Now, as far as QBR, this was one of Bortles' better seasons, and a large part of that has to do with the addition of rookie Leonard Fournette. You see, in 2016, the Jaguars were 22nd in the league in rushing, with only 1,631 yards. Last year, they were first in the league in rushing with 2,262 yards, and Fournette is only going to be more of a problem for opposing defenses as he gains more experience. But back to Bortles. Since his rookie season in 2014, Bortles is dead last among quarterbacks who started 40 or more games in that time frame with a quarterback rating of 80.8. He is second to last in pass completion percentage with 59.13%. He's thrown the most interceptions of any quarterback starting 40 or more games since 2014 with 64. And to put it in perspective, the league average in that time frame is around 40 interceptions. Tom Brady has thrown only 26 interceptions in that time frame. So heading into 2018, what do you guys think? Can we put Bortles' numbers aside and look at the other factors? Leonard Fournette, this young dominating defense, Doug Marrone and the genius of Tom Coughlin, and see this team as the next major dynasty in the AFC? Or was 2017 a fluke? The incredibly easy schedule, the defense making its name off of basically beating up on two teams, and the possibility of the AFC South being a much tougher division in 2018. Again, vote in the poll. Tell me what you think. Next dynasty or fluke? If you voted before watching this video, did the evidence make you change your vote, or are you standing your ground? As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Always interested in what you guys have to say. Please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever a new video is out. See you on the other side.